Yes guys, you've been asking every single day in my DMs, on Twitch, on Twitter, on YouTube. And yes, finally you guys will get my updated 4-4-2 tactics in this video. So grab your popcorn and let's just jump into my amazing 4-4-2 tactics on EFC 25. So guys, as you know, this is my amazing team. And I just realized I had my whole face cam during the whole video. So guys, you guys know the team in the background. It's a 4-4-2, of course. But first of all, before we jump into the custom tactics and such, I'm going to talk about what players you need in the 4-4-2 to try to maximize the wins, but also capacity to run and play this formation the best way possible, simply. So if we start in the keeper area, we have Thibaut Courtois in this kind of section. I think cheaper alternatives could be Diogo Costa, the Portuguese keeper. I'm just laughing, boys. I think we leave the game there. I think it's best to just leave it at that, let that guy get his win, and then move on, you know. Let's just do it like this. Emiliano Martinez from Aston Villa, for example. You have Oblak from Atletico Madrid, and Ter Stegen is a few keepers that I really liked this year, and they did really well for me. Ederson is also a good one. I wouldn't advise you guys to go for Alisson because he is cautious with crosses. He basically doesn't really like to grab crosses, which means he's staying in his goal, and that will lead to you guys conceding a lot more goals in EFC 25, especially on corners. If you watch my video against Tex yesterday, you will understand what I mean, because I played Alisson then, and I got a taste of that. So I wouldn't advise you guys to go with Alisson, but a few of the other options, like I said. For the right back option, I think you don't really have a lot of right backs in this year's game. You have Frimpong, who I think is really good as well. I decided to go with Dalot. I might switch Dalot for actually the new Trailblazer Llorente, but if we look at cheaper alternatives, I think Hakimi is very solid option if you want to go down that cheaper route of right backs. If you want to go down the left hand side, because I play Theo there and he's the best gold card in this year's game, but if you don't really have the coins and funds to play with him, I would advise you guys to go with Davies. I think he is simply fantastic this year, and especially for the amount of coins you put down on him. But other left backs, if we go in here, we have Karshawi, for example, who is really good. We have Rolfö, we have Basha. So this is a few other options that you guys can decide to go with. Or of course, Ferland Mendy is also really solid. If you're looking towards center backs, you want to look for pace. And I would say one of the first options that came to mind if you want to go down the cheaper route is actually going to be Kalulu from Juventus. He is really solid. I actually played with his inform this past weekend league on the Road to Glory, and he was amazing for me. I think his 78 rated card would also be really good. If you want to go down that kind of cheaper route with other center backs than Kalulu, I would advise you guys to go with Gold Van de Ven. I think Van de Ven in form is the best center back in this year's game. And if you are really, not really on a budget, I would say Van Dijk and Van de Ven are the best options at the moment. Of course, if you can get icons in there, I would maybe advise you guys to go with maybe a Blanc over one of these two. But I still think Van de Ven and Van Dijk are doing a fantastic job as a center halves, basically, in this 4-4-2 formation. But for the defense, you want to look for pace, strength, and of course defending, but the first priority should be pace, because that's going to be really important, especially when the opponent is trying to counterattack towards you. And if you have quicker players, then you will definitely stop these counterattacks way easier, and it will be way more helpful for you guys to defend. If you're looking towards the center midfielders, then you want to look for someone that's a bit more of a holding midfielder. In my case, this will actually be Sissoko, who I managed to evo both on the RTG but also on the main account, as this is the main account. He has the best playstyle for midfielders in this year's game with the long ball plus playstyle. Also has the pinged pass plus in silver. Also block, intercept, and slide tackle, which is some really good defending playstyles. Ball control is also very solid. He is an absolute beast, and I would say he's more of a, I would say holding midfielder, but he can also actually be more of a box to box, because he can actually go forward and finish as well. That's the amazing thing with him. And in my opinion, he is basically like, not really my card on the wall there, but basically like the Shepherd Hullet. We gotta be honest, he is absolutely unreal. For the other CM, you want to look towards someone that's a bit more offensive, and I would say De Jong is. The good thing with De Jong though is that he has some really good passing stats, but also some good passing play styles with incisive pass, long ball pass, but also tiki-taka. And tiki-taka helps a lot with the first time passes. So in build-up, for example, he is amazing. I can pass into both of the midfielders, and I can make first time passes either to the wings or to the strikers if I want to decide to go a bit more forward. For the wingers then, you basically want to look for strength, but also something that can change a game up. That's why I decided to go for Ginola, who is a bit more physical and can actually play as a striker and as a cam as well. But then on the other side, I decided to go for Salah. And I have Salah on loan, and in competitions we can play with loan cards. That's why I decided to go with Salah, and he has the finesse shot plus playstyle. So this means if I'm struggling against someone that's playing a 5-back, for example, I can just pop a finesse shot outside of the box. If I miss, doesn't really matter, because the opponent will keep in his head, okay, Salah has finesse shot, that means that I need to move my keeper next time because Olle will probably shoot a finesse shot. When my opponent moves the keeper then, that's when I try to be aggressive and try to attack the space towards the goal basically. So it's a bit of a mental game, but I always try to have one or two of these players that can actually make the difference. In terms of Salah, who has a finesse shot plus, I have Valverde on the bench, for example, who has the power shot plus playstyle. I can drop a power shot outside of the box, get a corner and maybe score when I have the aerial on Van Dijk. So it's almost about combining these kind of different playstyles and add them to your advantage. So that's basically why I play Salah, only because of the finesse shot playstyle, and I don't really think there's a lot of option in this year's game with right mids either. And then for the strikers, I mean, we have Kylian Mbappe and R9 Ronaldo. I mean, I don't really think I need to tell you guys a lot about them. Mbappe, 272 games, 382 goals and 204 assists. And for R9, 175 games, 304 goals and 105 assists. And yeah, R9, I bought him for 13 million coins. There's only one on the market at the moment, so he's basically extinct. And in my opinion, he's the best player in this year's game. Jumping into the tactics then. First of all, if you guys want to copy this tactic, I will have the tactic code up on the screen right now. So just pause the video and you can basically try to copy it for yourself, because this is not going to be the correct one. Sissoko will be on holding and De Jong will be on playmaker, because he is on playmaker plus. So I like to have one of the midfielders that is a bit more attacking, but I'm actually not going to play De Jong as playmaker because I've experienced with playmaker, and playmaker is good, but most often, unfortunately, they are making really good runs, but sometimes they are too much inside the opponent's penalty box, and I want to find my striker in there. I don't really want my CMs to be inside there. So I decided to go with De Jong as a box-to-box, Sissoko as a holding midfielder, and starting off from the back, we have sweeper keeper on Courtois. Really important to have this. I think a lot of good goalkeepers manages to have this kind of role in plus, which means that a modern goalkeeper who is able to stop attacks and support build-up play as a passing option. I think that's super important for keepers, and I would always advise you guys to go with that. For the right back, I decided to go for fullback, basically because I don't really want to get countered. Fullback is a bit more defensive. You can decide to go for defender balanced here, but I would advise you guys to go for fullback. Otherwise, you will get a lot of counterattacks against you. For the defenders, I have both on defender plus. I mean, I tried to actually play with Van Dijk as a ball-playing defender, but I didn't really like that too much. I think he was way too much involved in the build-up, and with passing with center-backs on this game is not really working. So yeah, Van Dijk and Van de Ven is both going to be on defender. Theo Hernandez is not going to be on wing-back anymore. I tried that. I don't really like it, as I said, so he's also going to be on fullback, which I think is, I mean, the most common option when you look at this. The good thing about having Van de Ven and Van Dijk as well, which I didn't really say before, is that Van de Ven is left-footed, so he can actually play out to Theo with his preferred foot instead of having two right-footed center-backs. For the left mid, Ginola is going to be on inside forward and Salah is going to be on inside forward. Why? Because we want them to be central on the pitch. Then we want to create the space with our fullbacks by pressing L1 towards them to try to make runs around Salah and Ginola in this case, to try to activate that kind of 2v1 on the wing. That's why we have inside forward on both Ginola and Salah, but also because I feel like they are a bit more involved when you are around the opponent's box. If they are on winger, for example, it's of course easier to find them in build-up and everything, but I think they are way too wide. When you try to play with the midfielders around the opponent's box, they are just staying on the wing, which you don't really want to. You want to have them involved there and try to combine with the strikers. If you go towards the strikers, then both of them will be on advanced forward. Of course, sometimes I actually try to have a complete on the focus, which means that when set to complete, the advanced forward has the freedom to move wide when necessary to receive a pass or create space with a run, but I decided to go with attack on them. And yes, I also tried out the false 9, which means position on the forward line. This player drops deep to dictate the play in the space in front of the defense. This allows them to contribute towards defensive phases of the game, and of course it's a bit more of a defensive role. And I think in build up, if you're struggling with build up, I think you should have one attacker on false 9, preferably the one who has plus in rolls. If both of them doesn't have a role in terms of that, I would go with the one that's a bit more slower. But in my case, I decided to go with advanced forward on both strikers, and this has been working wonders for me. If we go into team tactics, then of course we play a 4-4-2, we play a balanced build-up style, and we decided to go with the defensive approach of high at the moment. But if I play someone that's really good with these first time through balls, I think you guys know what I mean, I just go to balance, because of course the auto offside traps is really good, but if you play someone that's really good with the first time through balls, you will get punished by these first time through balls if you have the auto offside trap wrap just pushing up. So I would advise you guys to start with high, but if you feel like your opponent is really good at doing these first time through balls, just switch them to balance and you won't really get countered the same way. So once again, this is going to be the tactic code up here. Please try this 4-4-2 tactics out for yourself and let me know how it goes for you playing with these tactics. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment something nice down below as always. If you feel like I'm missing something on YouTube at the moment, let me know down in the comments. Hopefully you guys like my updated 4-4-2 tactics, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.